Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Real Talk New Jersey Real Estate Insights, where we dive into the real stories, strategies, and people behind New Jersey's real estate market. I'm your host, Richard Bolt, with Cornerstone First Mortgage. Today, I'm joined by someone who brings a unique and dynamic perspective to the industry, John Yablonski, a lifelong New Jersey resident and a former Division I athlete and coach turned into a real estate professional. John's based in Monmouth County area and has closed over $60 million in residential sales. He's also built a brand that blends his background in the athletics with real estate through Hoops and Homes, and has worked through with the Next Move Network, helping athletes and families relocate. We're excited to learn more about his mindset, marketing, and community involvement, helping him to serve his clients at a high level. So let's jump right in. So welcome, John. It's great to have you here with us. Just wanted to start off with a little bit about your transition from Division I college basketball into the real estate world.
Sure, Rich. Thanks for having me, first of all. It was fairly an easy transition. I had been doing sales for 20 years and then coaching a lot of basketball, one as a Division I player, then coach, and then kind of through high school and ranks and some AAU stuff. So obviously sales in general, but I think more importantly, business has an easier transition with sports. Obviously teamwork, accountability, obviously you have timelines, you have to get things done. So a lot of the things that I were instilled either in me as a player and then when I was coaching are the things that really apply to business, organization being a big one. And the accountability is also another one. So it kind of was an easy thing. I look at it as a game here too. You have a team, whether that be, your attorneys or mortgage lenders or title people. And then you have to have a good team to be really successful in this business and, to make things happen. So it was a pretty easy transition.
Yeah, and lots of clear communication between the team members so that everything runs smoothly, correct?
Of course. That's probably the number one, good communication.
Yes. So what position did you play anyway?
I was a point guard.
Okay.
If you saw me walking down the street, I don't think Division I basketball player would be the first thing that came to mind. But just like real estate, you have to work really hard at something that's just not given to you. So that was how my basketball career went. Also real estate, if you don't put, good amount of time and effort into it, it's going to reflect in your sales at the end of the year. So
you reap what you sow, basically. So
yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about this business, and it's also the challenging thing for some people. So.
Yep. You have to have good systems and you have to be consistent, and continue to, grow your business, farm your business, get leads in your pipeline. If you're complacent, it catches up to you really quickly.
For sure. If the phone's not ringing, you got to pick it up and make phone calls.
That's correct.
So you've built a strong personal brand with Hoops and Homes. How did you come about that?
Everybody seemed to have a tagline when I got into real estate. People would have hashtags of stuff, or maybe in their email at the bottom, they would have a quote or something. And I don't know. I don't even know how I came up with it. I just was trying to put basketball and real estate together. Hoops and Homes kind of came about, and I started using it on a lot of my hashtags on my posts on social media. And then people would say it to me, Hoops and Homes. And, it just helps you something.
Yeah. And it helps you stay top of mind. So like if it's an easy thing to kind of remember, it kind of rolls off the tongue, Hoops and Homes.
Yeah. And they knew me from basketball. So this is a way to transition from basketball and marrying real estate along with it.
Awesome. How does your involvement with the Next Move Network help you serve athletes and families relocating to or from New Jersey?
So that one was an easy transition for me as well, because I did know a lot of coaches and athletes from my previous coaching stint. And I was approached by someone who had this referral network that's all over the country that helps. It's marketed towards athletes and coaches, but it could be for anybody. It could be for the person next door. So if someone's moving out of state anywhere in the country, I can connect them to a vetted agent who's in our group that then will take care of them, whether that's buying, selling, renting, or investment projects. So it's meant for people who move around a lot. Like I said, coaches and players, whether they're getting hired, fired, traded, drafted, but anybody who may just be relocating, we can service that. So it became another arm of my business instead of just local to New Jersey. I've created another stream of business that is outside on the referral network.
Yeah. So you must have an awesome network, like a huge amount of people, if you're helping people across the entire country.
Yes, it's great. And, some of these people I've done business with multiple times, agents, and I've never met them.
Yep.
And then there's a few other people I know personally when I travel. If I travel in an area, I go meet the agent who's local to that area just to get to know them.
Cool.
So I'm a social person generally. So for me to be in Chicago and connect with the next move agent in Chicago is not out of my comfort zone. So
Cool.
it's been really good. And I've been in it probably about 6 years and it's grown significantly.
That's awesome. So you work mainly in Rumson, Red Bank, Monmouth Beach. What are you seeing in those markets right now?
Monmouth County in general obviously has been hot for a while, especially after COVID. And it only has continued to grow and uptick since. I always say that the beach isn't going anywhere. Typically, there's really good school systems, and New York City is not traveling further away than it is.
Yep.
So people who are looking for, the beach, the commute to the city, have a good school system, yet maybe don't live in the city because they want a little more space.
Yep.
Or, they want their kids to have a big yard instead of maybe living in New York. Monmouth County, specifically, some of the towns you mentioned, whether it's Rumson, Fairhaven, Monmouth Beach, Little Silver, those towns are really viable options for people who might not have looked at Monmouth County in the past.
How far of a commute is it to New York? Like, is there a train that goes out of there?
You can drive, take the bus, take the train, or take the ferry. Many people take the ferry. It's about a 40-minute ferry ride.
Okay.
There's 2 stops, 35th, and then they also have Wall Street. So that typically is a destination where people get off and then could take the subway. It's a little different commute. Obviously, being on the water, there's no traffic. Typically, the boat's not breaking down. It's usually on time. So, from Rumson, it's probably about 12 minutes to the ferry. To Highlands or Atlantic Highlands, and then about a 40-minute commute to New York.
And generally, there's no traffic jams on the water.
No, there is not. Every once in a while, I guess the weather could get a little rough,
Yep.
which affects. I guess you might have to take a Dramamine or something if you need to.
Yeah.
But it's a nice way to commute, and it's a social boat, so people can get to know people there. It's out in the open. A lot of people see each other. They know, so it becomes a social atmosphere too.
That's cool. What sort of inventory levels are you seeing in Monmouth County?
Ever since COVID happened, they dropped dramatically. Using Rumson as an example, there was 60 to 80 homes prior to COVID, generally, going up and down. Right now, over the last few years, it's probably been between like 15 and 25. So the inventory has dropped dramatically. And home prices in this area have gone up. So the entry level home to get into towns like Rumson have, over the last 5 years, have significantly increased. And one of the factors is people who refinanced when the interest rate was real low aren't necessarily looking to get out of their home and then into a 6.5 or 7 rate. So people stay where they are and maybe do a renovation on their house. So not everybody is looking to move quickly unless they have a different reason for that. Maybe relocation or, maybe it was a second home that they're looking to sell.
Yeah. And the low inventory is a price pressure for upward prices. So, supply demand, if there's not a lot of supply, and New Jersey seems to be, I've been hearing agents in some other parts of the country saying, oh, it's shifting to a buyer's market, but I don't know what you're seeing out there, but I don't really see that here in Jersey for the most part.
I don't see that close to a buyer's market right now.
Yep.
People are, even putting homes probably a little higher than they should and still getting the price, which is driving comps and everything up. So, until that slows down or we get an influx of a whole bunch of inventory, I don't really see that happen because there's the competition at certain price points is one or two homes and you have 50, 60 people fighting over that one or two.
Yeah.
So
you describe your approach as serving the client until they're happy. What does that look like in action?
The best thing that I think I took from my father as a salesman, he always told me, a sale is not just a transaction. It's a connection to someone. And obviously, depending on what that sale is, it could be a lifelong connection to someone. I try to get to know my clients right away, their likes, what their kids, who their kids are, what they do. And then we build a bond. And then when the house is bought or sold, it doesn't end there. I continuously keep in contact with them every few months, get invited to parties by them, things like that. So, I just make it a point because network sales is networking.
Yeah.
And the bigger your network grows, the easier I would say it is to get referrals if you do a good job for someone.
Absolutely.
Someone is not selling a house every year. So if someone sells it once and maybe doesn't buy or sell for 5 to 9 years, they may have referrals to give you of friends and family who do. So that could help your business tremendously just by keeping in contact with them.
Absolutely. That's a key in this business, staying top of mind. I personally reach out to my database 4 times a year via phone call. They're getting an email, and then I have some mailers that go out like once a month. So yeah, it's definitely key to stay top of mind, and that's how you get referral business. You do well by people, and you stay top of mind. It's not necessarily that they're going to buy or sell a house in the next couple of years, but friends, family, coworkers, and I'm always asking for that business, and that's the way to, you drive success. So I think we have
Sure. And I actually had that happen yesterday where over the weekend, I had a client who really wasn't looking I had put them in a home and then they went to an open house yesterday, loved it because it was a bigger unit of a townhome and they were thinking about it. And I keep in contact with them regularly and they put my name down at the open house. The agent was trying to talk to them to see if she could represent them, but they told them, no, John is my agent.
Yep.
Then they called me and,
Awesome.
we are actually putting in an offer today on something that they saw yesterday that basically I didn't know they were looking for the home and they weren't really either. So, I kept in contact with them regularly. So that just goes to show you that they were, I did a good enough job the first time that they would include me because they could have easily found another option if they wanted to or use the listing agent.
Absolutely. I think there was a study by NAR where they said 87%, I think it was 87% of home buyers would use the same agent again, but only 12% end up using the same agent. And it's because they don't remember who you are. And if you're not staying in contact, you're missing the boat. Like you worked really hard to develop, trust and, camaraderie, whatever you want to call it, like with that client, and then you're going to let them slip away to the next person just because you don't want to make a phone call. So
and it's hard enough to keep the pipeline going and find new clients and someone who's going to connect with you and use it. You can't afford to lose relationships that you've already built just because you don't follow up. And follow up is always the key, whether it's your past clients or people you're trying to help find a home. The constant follow-up is usually where the business lies.
Yep. They know, like, and trust you already. So why lose that?
Right.
So
right.
Awesome. Yep. So O'Brien Realty positions itself as a modern marketing driven firm. What tools or strategies do you use to make a difference in your business?
I think the two main ones, and they a little bit go hand in hand, is one, social media is such a key part to what has transpired even over the last 4 or 5 years. It used to be just get something up there and it was a lot of pictures. People are afraid sometimes to put videos up because they're afraid of either what they look like or what they may sound. And I was probably there in the beginning too, but then I just didn't. I said, well, I'm just going to do it. And I know I'm going to get better at it the 5th time and the 10th time, the 100th time, but I got to jump in and actually do it. So, I probably, I go through peaks and valleys, I guess, of when I do as much social media as I should. But I think videos are key because people's attention span, it's got to be quick. It can't be something long because people just scroll through things really quickly now. And again, I guess it depends on obviously your client. Maybe people who are a little older are not so big on social media, but if you maybe have younger clients, they may use social media a lot. And then the second thing that has obviously sparked part of that is AI over the last, I would say, year has really, I mean, it was around before that, but has really gone crazy about what you can do. And, I think it's a resource everybody should use.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I've been trying to delve into that quite a bit myself too. So that's an awesome tool. And as far as like the video stuff, you're absolutely right. Myself, even like I would have never imagined myself doing videos and stuff like that. And I dabbled with it probably about 12 years ago. And then I did it a few times and then I didn't follow up, and I could kick myself for it because I'd probably be way further ahead, but you sound like, I know in your head you sound differently than what you record as, and you look like. I mean, not everybody's Brad Pitt. So,
but you know what, though? It's funny that the people who may comment or say things that maybe would say stuff about your videos, they're not ones posting something anyway. So you can't be the one bringing people down if you're not doing it yourself. So you just got to go for it and can't be worried about what people think. I think it can't hurt your business. No one's saying, unless you're doing something that you shouldn't be putting on video. But like, I think if you just put it out there, and the other thing I'll say is people see your stuff. They may not comment or like, and you don't really know who you affect. And I've had that happen numerous times where people that I know have never commented on anything and maybe never liked it. And they say, oh, I saw your video on such and such, or I see what you're doing. And I was like, really? So you just don't know who you're affecting or touching when it comes to a video and the influence that could have on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've gotten phone calls from people and I'm like, how did you come across me? And like they watched the video or whatnot. So yeah, it's definitely helpful. We're about to get a cameo appearance by my cat, I think.
Put that on video.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
There he is.
So that's Winston. He's going to be going down now. I thought the other one, we foster cats, so I have several cats in the house, and she kept walking across my computer, and I was like, "You gotta go now. I gotta record here. I can't have you walking back and forth through the screen for the next 20 minutes." So
you're gonna have to interview Winston next time, I think.
Yeah, he's got lots to say. So he's a chatter. So. So tell me about coaching and community. You're still active in coaching basketball. How does that side of your life impact your relationship in the real estate world?
I've done so many different things in coaching while I was still doing real estate, whether it's my kids were, on the team and I was the coach. My kids have graduated college now. So I still help out when anyone asks me to come maybe run a practice or they want me to jump in and do some drills with them. I do a lot of coaching on the side. So I do a lot of individual workouts for players. So, that's building trust if you're taking care of their children in terms of coaching them. It does build a trust. And then when people all like to talk about real estate, I would say, everybody talks about real estate at least a few times every week, regardless of what industry you're in. So it always comes up. It's always a top of mind with people, whether it's the interest rate or inventory or housing prices. So, sometimes it comes up with just when I'm coaching their kids. Yeah. And, if they give me their children to work with to get them better and it's part of their developmental years, then I know they trust me. Yeah. So it's just a matter of maybe that could be some business too, and I can help them in the future. So, it does have a correlation. I mean, I do it because I really love basketball.
Yep.
The real estate could be a byproduct of maybe some of those things that happen. But I do love to coach, and sometimes business comes of it.
Yeah. Basketball was always my favorite sport to play. But I wasn't tall enough to really excel at it. So
You don't have to be that tall. I'm only 5'10", so
yeah, but you were probably pretty quick though. So I was slow and not tall.
I was quick. Was.
it when in the younger grades I was kind of the taller kid, but in our school we didn't have a lot of kids, so at 5'11" I was probably one of the taller kids, but not when you get in with all these 6-footer plus guys. It's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what advice would you give to other athletes or coaches thinking about making the shift into real estate?
You have to decide, if it's going to be something that's full time for you. Obviously, real estate is 100% commission based. So making the jump, obviously all in sometimes could be difficult because it does take a little while to build your business. I always say it's probably about 3 to 5 years, depending on your curve, to really hit your stride, to feel confident in doing what you want to do, and then it excels from there. Obviously there's outliers. Some people are more successful earlier from that, but a lot of people transition where they do it part-time, where I know a lot of players who are still playing basketball professionally and get their real estate license and then learn through that, or they could obviously work with somebody on a team to kind of learn the business. I do think it's very valuable for a lot of the coaches or players who have maybe do well in their basketball careers, that they could use that money either having their real estate license so they can build a portfolio even on their investment side. They still would like to know what, and they save money on commission if they're their own real estate agent. But also just if they want to transition over to another career, real estate, they have probably a good network of people if you're a professional coach or basketball player too. And it's a matter of obviously using that network to help your business. So I think there's a lot of value to it.
And you can't play professional basketball forever. Sooner or later, it all catches up to you.
Yeah, I always say the ball stops bouncing at some point. So then it becomes depending on who you are and how much money you made in basketball. You may or may not have to find another career.
Exactly. Not everybody's Michael Jordan.
Right.
Anything else you'd like to share with our audience today, John?
No, if anybody's interested in working with me, whether they're looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest, or even if it's a referral at a network, like I said, out of New Jersey, my email is jtyablonski14@gmail.com, or my cell phone is 860-913-6949. Hopefully they could follow me on social media. I'll try to post more videos like we just talked about earlier. So, we get that going, but I'm happy to help anybody or just give some advice if they're looking just to learn a little about real estate. And, obviously on the basketball side too, I'm always there if someone needs a helping hand too.
Yep. Awesome. Well, it was great having you, John. Thank you so much. And I look forward to further conversations with you.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, John.
All right. Take care.
Bye. Thanks,
Rich.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, I just tried to recycle the answers I had the other day. I was trying to remember them.
Yeah, I know. So no,
it's easier the second time.
Yeah, it is a little bit easier the second time. So I had one other time where I forgot to hit the record button, but every other one, no problem. So I apologize that we had to take another 20 minutes of your time or so, but I greatly appreciate it. And I think it was.
I don't mind that. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to get on.
Yeah, and once I get the shorts ready for you, I'll get them over to you. I'll tag you when I share them, and obviously feel free to share them on your social as well. So
I will. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right. Take care.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.